All right, here we go. John Salley.
Yes.
Welcome back to VladTV.
Yes, man. Thank you for having me back.
Oh, man, thank you for coming.
I should be monthly.
You should be monthly.
I should be monthly. I should be the menstrual cycle for this.
Well, you're our only professional athlete repeat guest.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Man, I just keep making all kind of records that make no difference, but I keep making them. They're like records no one plays.
Yep. Well, let's go ahead and get into it. First and foremost, last time you were here, you predicted that the Golden State Warriors are going to win the finals.
I did?
You did.
For the fifth time? Or what? I said this was a three-peat year.
You said.
Yeah.
And I quote.
Well, they did win. I said they're going to win the West Championship.
We posted this on March 29th of this year. Said John Salley predicts Warriors will win the NBA Finals. Kevin Durant will stay.
Okay, so let's go back. If Kevin Durant's playing, listen, I was on the first Raptor team. I was going to post my picture in my Raptors uniform. It would have been disingenuous, so I didn't, because I, that's their thing. I was going to go back because they were bringing back alumni.
Mm-hmm.
I loved being in Toronto.
Did you play with Steph Curry's dad?
No, I was
that was
on.
A different year.
My guy was Damon Stoudemire rookie year. He was rookie of the year that year.
Okay.
And it was 1995-96. So I literally got Isaiah. I bought myself out of slavery, and I was the only free slave in the NBA at the time. LeBron has proven you can do it whenever, but I literally paid to get out so I can own my rights. And then I begged Isaiah. I said, "Come on, man, this is not happening. This is not me." And he was like, "Sal, you got a lot of money left on the contract. We got to pay you this if you leave." I was like, "I won't hold you to that." It was like $750,000.
Okay.
But I get on Chicago Bulls.
Right. It worked out.
You get to play with Jesus.
It worked out.
I got to play with Jesus, John, and Luke. You know what I'm saying? I got to play on the squad with the Messiah and win a championship and have the best experience ever for $750,000. That's one way of looking at it.
Oh yeah.
But I just tell you, Kevin Durant, and anybody, you have to say it, and I have to say it. He shouldn't have played. After he officially proves to y'all that it's not ready, now people are like, man, you know what? Then somebody's going to say, well, he put it all on the line. He ruined his Achilles, which usually means you cannot come back.
Well, I saw like a breakdown of other players who had a similar injury, and the average was around 300 days or so.
Right.
A whole year.
A whole year.
Yeah, I
think he's 6'11".
Boogie Cousins had a similar injury, right?
Kobe.
You're right. Kobe had a similar injury.
That's it, Kobe. Just what it took for Kobe to even almost to get that 61 the night that he did his last game. Just think about that life he had to go through. But I'm glad he left it all on the line. But, I heard he was getting divorced. And
he's married? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, man. I heard, when they were talking, I don't know if it was him, but when you got mental stress, man, that mental stress causes the stress on the body. I said before, he's my favorite player. I'm a big LeBron fan, but the fact that the guy is built just like me, but he can shoot. We both wear glasses, can't see, but he's just a killer. And if he's playing, I don't see anybody beating him. I just never see that.
I mean, I just looked it up. It says Golden State Warriors forward Kevin Durant has previously been engaged, but he is not currently nor has ever been married.
Oh, good. So they were talking about...
he was engaged to a real estate agent named Cassandra Anderson.
And so think about it.
They broke up.
Yeah. Good. Thank you. Not saying good that he broke up. I married the right person for me. Everyone asks me, because I'm so extroverted and people have their ideas. I married the right person for me. And this is why I said that. I knew I wanted to be a pro basketball player. There's nothing else I wanted more than pro basketball, right? And I would say, first, I used to say, first is God, then me, then my family, then basketball, then my friends, and then anything else fell in here.
Yeah.
And then I switched it up. But it's one of the hardest things in the world is to be an entertainer. I couldn't understand being a singer and going on the road, how many days? 200, 300 days?
Mm-hmm.
And coming back and say, hey, honey, how's things? I couldn't imagine doing that. So it's hard to be an entertainer in front of thousands and millions of people and then go back to what people consider to be normal. It's a hard thing to do.
Well, I saw a video of the injury,
Yeah.
of his Achilles tearing. Like you saw like the calf just suddenly kind of pop out, and it was a horrible injury.
And the first thing, remember when he strained it and he looked back like he got kicked in it and he's able to walk off and he said, hey, he was still, you know what? It didn't go all the way. It's cool. You just have to rest it.
Well, and they actually won that game.
Yeah.
The game that he played like roughly half the game or so, they won by a point. And then after that, it was over.
Yeah. It just wasn't there yet, too. And then God bless the NBA. The trophy is back on the East Coast.
I mean, it's back in another fucking country. Like,
Yeah, but
look, someone said LeBron misses misses the playoffs 1 year, and the whole other country comes and wins the NBA Finals.
the whole company goes out. But it's so funny how we separated them as country too, because
they're in Canada. It's the Toronto Raptors.
But what it does is they were the most diverse team.
Okay.
We got the first Chinese American.
You're right. Jeremy Lin has a fucking trophy now.
Jeremy
before
Lin.
Carmelo.
Exactly. Before everybody.
Before everybody. Before Iverson.
Right.
Like
his best friend is the Korean pop star. He's the Drake of Asia.
Okay.
Right. Drake.
Drake is a trophy.
Right. Kawhi, LA gets to throw up signs. We get to put your braids back in your hair and be like, we
Right.
did it. Gasol.
Yep.
He can look at his brother now and say, look at my ring finger. Tabaka. I mean, African. It's just seriously the most diverse team, which is the greatest thing for the NBA.
Look, you know basketball better than just about anybody.
I agree.
Did you have any idea that the Raptors would go and win the NBA Finals this year?
Once Kawhi hit that shot, yeah. Because it looked like when you shoot from the corner, you don't get that bounce. You shoot from the corner, it hits the rim and bounces this way or that way. You don't get a soft bounce from the corner. You just never get it. So it looked like something said, no, I'm going to make this go in. I'm just telling you. I said, oh, that's it. He said, well, they can't beat. I would listen to Stephen A. And I love Stephen because he's like me. If you got Durant on your team, you're not beating that team. Just not going to beat them. It's just not going to happen. And if guys can say, well, they can do it without him, and that's what they want to talk about. It's not whether they can do it without him. It's what the other team thinks. So if all of a sudden the other team says they have too many weapons, here, we surrender, you won the game. So it's not just that what he puts on the court, but the thought of him playing makes the other team worry.
Well, Doc Rivers said that Kawhi Leonard is the most like Jordan that he's ever seen.
Kobe Bryant is Michael Jordan plus.
Okay.
Kawhi Leonard has the hands of MJ, does not have the pizzazz, but that kill technique and that literally technical, when I get here, I shoot like exactly as I practice, yeah. But Kobe Bryant is Michael Jordan plus.
Yeah, Kawhi's demeanor is like nothing I've ever seen. Like
Sidney Moncrief.
Okay.
You had to be old to even know that name.
I don't
Sidney Moncrief, Oscar Robinson.
Okay.
He's consistent like that. He's one of those dudes like Buck Williams. Buck Williams used to play for the New Jersey Nets and for the Knicks. But Buck was also the president of the Player Association. Was constant, 6'7", technical, you know, it looked like Jim Kelly with a mustache. Buck was the man. So Buck Williams, you know, technical like that. You know, another guy who can kill you was Karl Malone. Karl Malone would come in and give you a bunch of numbers and, you know, shake your shoulders. There's a lot in the NBA that they cut off from us seeing because they got to prepare, but the fact that I played against those cats, I look at Kawhi and I go, oh, that's what he is. Practice hard, keeps his mouth shut. Adrian Dantley. Kawhi is like Adrian Dantley with big hands.
Well, I saw a tweet that said Kawhi's family probably doesn't know he even plays for the NBA. He just comes home from work and quietly sits at the dinner table.
He is, man. And he's like, you know, the fact that he's emotional and he holds it, and that when you see him excited, like I don't even think he was that excited when he won with San Antonio. It didn't seem like, you know,
he's not excited
as much as he was with Toronto. To me,
yeah, no. When they were winning, when they won their first few games, when you saw him walk back into the locker room, they weren't even celebrating. They were just like grim face, like, okay, next game.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, Bill Laimbeer in I don't worry about the year, but Bill Laimbeer, we were beating the Lakers in Game 1, 1988 Finals. And they had said the same thing. These guys shouldn't even be here. And we knew we can beat them. So Game 1, we beat the Lakers well. And Bill yells on the line when we're in the house. He said, hey, when we win this game, we walk off the court like we're supposed to win. Do not celebrate. It's Game 1. Walk off the court like we're supposed to. Yeah. We won, walk off the court, boom, boom, boom. We got in the locker room, trying not to scream, but we was like, yeah, we beat them in the fourth, you know, finally. So maybe they had that conversation because you don't want the coach to go, you see them over there celebrating? You don't want them to use you for anything.
Yeah.
You want them to be in fear of you.
Yeah, well, after the Raptors won, I had found out that Kawhi's dad was actually murdered, shot to death at a car wash in Compton.
When?
March of 2008.
Wow. So 11 years ago.
Let's look up the age.
Yeah, where was Kawhi?
Let's do the math. Let's do the math. He was born in 91.
Right.
So in 2008, he was 17 years old. Wow. 17-year-old, and his dad was about to go. He was like working late, so you can go see his son play in high school. So here's your dad. You're a senior or a junior in high school. Mm-hmm. The guy that taught you how to play basketball just never shows up.
Yeah.
And I read some of the articles, like his brother, Kawhi's brother, said that Kawhi didn't even really react. He just kept it all inside. And I think that's why you see this demeanor. Mm-hmm. I think that's part of it.
Funny you say that. Not funny. So a lot of people in my life have passed before I was 25. I was born, it's just the way what happens in that part of New York. So I don't remember crying at any funeral except Heavy D's. I didn't cry at my father's funeral. All my friends that got murdered, my nephews, my young cousins, my aunts. I mean, one of my best friends got killed when I was 9. Yeah, about 9. Didn't cry at the funeral. But for some reason, I guess I'd gotten to a point where I no longer had to hold, and it felt like I was crying for everything. But when my boy Lloyd got murdered, it killed me. It was Coach Crimmins got me a sports psychiatrist. So that was the first time I was taught how to meditate. I was taught how to breathe. You're already a teenager with anger, but now the anger is tremendous. And I think that point kind of desensitizes you, right? Because you start realizing nothing. I put it on my Instagram, this is all temporary. So you start realizing things are temporary. So I couldn't imagine what would happen. Because when I look at Kawhi, it doesn't look sad. He just looks like he's serious. He's a serious dude.
Yeah.
Like even his laugh is like, undercover, like, oh, that's funny. That's just a trip. He likes being like off to the side.
You said that KD's your favorite player.
Yeah.
How did you feel when the Toronto fans started cheering when he got injured?
Oh, okay, everybody keeps wondering. Fans are supposed to be the worst things on the planet. They used to curse at Bill Russell, and call him all kind of names, and he was the coach on the Celtics. You understand? Like, I played at Duke University, Georgia Tech at Duke University. We had Yvonne Joseph on the team, one of my favorite people. God bless Yvonne Joseph, the big Haitian creation we called him. They had a sign, the Haitian creation gives Georgia Tech AIDS. I mean, they didn't care.
What the hell?
And he was like, that is not nice. They should not be. They didn't care. Like, they're fans. Their job is to kill. Okay? Everybody wants people to be politically correct. It's not. This is the Coliseum and the gladiators down there, and whoever is alive when it finishes wins.
Well, I mean, there was also the situation. You talk about fans. Mm-hmm. Remember when Kyle Lowry,
fell
into the stands, and then the guy who actually ended up being one of the investors of the Warriors, shoved him and called him a name.
But this is the trip. He didn't have to touch him.
Yeah.
Because Kyle didn't do anything next to him. He shoved him with his arm. If Kyle would have shoved him back in his face and walked on the court, everybody would have laughed at him. He would have been like, yeah, back in my day, right? They wouldn't have had 30 different cameras, what his job title is. That wouldn't have happened. You know what I'm saying? If you fall into the stands and somebody pushes you back and you turn around, and you knock their drink over and you run it, Charles Barkley would have done that.
Right.
Right? Charles Barkley would have smacked the guy in the head, and they would have broken it up, and next thing you know, the guy would have been like, yeah, I got smacked in the head by Charles Barkley. Now,
I'm famous.
Now, it's like, you know when it all started? The guy in Chicago, when the fan got in the way of the Cubs winning the World Series, Bakeman, and he touched the ball, and they didn't catch the ball, and then they went on to lose, and the guy wound up having to leave Chicago because he ruined it for the Cubs. You remember that?
Well, there was also the Malice in the Palace.
Okay, the Malice in the Palace, but that was different, right? Because what would have happened before is the right security guard, right, would have had him and moved him out of the way. But then, I do know how big Meta World Peace is. The dude is huge.
Yeah.
He's like this much wider than me.
Yeah, no, Ron Artest, I mean, he's not as big anymore,
right.
But when I met him, his shoulders were like the size of this fucking room.
Yeah.
He was just an abnormality.
And I looked at him, I said, dog, you're Native American. I remember saying that. I said, you're definitely Native.
Have you ever played, you played against him?
No, I just saw him, and I don't, but I watched him, and I was like, man, this guy's crazy. And then I got there, he's like 6'9", he was wide, and he's from New York. And I was like,
he's from Queensbridge.
Yeah, I was like, this dude, like, now I understood why I would want him on my squad.
Yeah, no, I've interviewed him before, and we talked about that whole situation, and he takes responsibility for it.
It was a part of my life where things were spiraling downwards, and it wasn't that bad. Nothing was spiraling downwards. Just mentally, I wasn't strong mentally. Everything just got to me as a 19-year-old kid.
Have you seen his documentary?
No.
I went to the premiere a few weeks ago. It was all based on mental health.
Yeah.
He's had serious mental health problems since he was born, essentially, and most of his family's on medication and stuff like that.
Which I think, is why I do the diet I deal with.
Okay.
I believe Western medicine has done some amazing things. I think a lot of times it's overstated itself and underperformed in a lot of situations. There's medicines that they have mimicked that have been around for 8,000 years. Chinese medicine, 8,000 years. Plant medicine, longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
I think now with the cannabis move and everybody understanding hemp, they are now starting to realize, what is it now called? Functional medicine. They're starting to realize, how do we get people to live in this environment and function as a good citizen in this situation? If you constantly inundate my brain, my stomach with non-foods and plastics, and you go, I say this is my mind and this is my brain. If I'm feeding my mind plastics, sugars, that means my mind is going to be off. So when your mind is off, and one of the first things we do with kids that supposedly have ADD is we clean them out, right? Once I clean you out of the toxins, and then I start giving them live oxygen food, you guys sometimes call it alkaline, but if I give you food that your body can use, it seems to calm your mind differently. And I see mental health issues. One of my friends, Dr. Delvina down in Florida, is literally, she's working with soldiers. She's a sergeant in the reserves, and we talk about it. I watched Sway, hear them talking about fibroids and detox, and I'm hearing these different ways of going about it. I put together, I got like 3 doctors now. Got a neurologist, cardiologist, because people want to hear the issues, the cardiologist, the lalologist. They want to hear all that. They want to see the people with the letters, and then I can, when they say things, sometimes I say it in layman, or if I'm saying something, I got them to back me up. I don't have to have the letters. So I just, when we talk about mental health, one of the first things I said is, when you change your diet, and I talk about how great the vegan diet is, I only do that because that's a step. But the real thing is, when you get the raw food, like I'm like 80% raw now, so I'm 80-20.
You're 80% raw, so you don't even cook your food most of the time.
No, most of the time.
Aha.
Like at night, I'll eat a cooked meal. That's my vegan. But during the day, like today, I'm fruits, beets, cucumbers. I'm all that during the day.
Now Kevin Durant has a serious injury. Well, he had an operation.
Which might have been a mistake.
You think that was a mistake?
Cell. Well, if they had to reconnect it, yes.
Yeah. Do you expect him to come back? Well, number one, do you expect him to come back to the Warriors?
Yes.
Okay.
So if Kevin Durant, this is how smart Kevin Durant is. The NBA is bigger than America.
Yeah.
The NBA is moving into international. The only place the NBA is touched, but they haven't literally gone and touched, one of the places is Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is at the tip of India. But now the NBA India is for real.
Really?
Yeah, they're going to be, there's a lot of NBA basketball going on in India. Well, when you got NBA China, and you got 300 million Chinese people interested into watching an NBA game streamed live into China, that's amazing. Soon as they start doing that in India, now you got another 300, 400 million people watching, and you only got, 10 million in America watching the game because everything else on. The baseball game is on, the hockey.
Only 10 million people watch the NBA Finals?
30 million?
Let's look it up.
If it's 30 million in the NBA Finals, you got to understand that. Like, it's 30 million people out of 379 million people. But around the world, you're watching people with our population is watching the game.
Well, according to Google, 90.5 million viewers.
The whole finals.
No. Well, the last 5 minutes.
The last 5 minutes. 90 million. Okay, so let's get this. 90 million people in America.
Yeah.
300 in China watched million. 100 million in India. Another 100 million in Africa. You understand?
Yeah.
South America. When Ginobili was hottest thing in the world in South America, right? He was representing South America to the point when the Olympics come, he's playing on their team. Remember, that's the thing. We got a player in yours, but he's representing us. What's his name? Duncan played for St. Croix, right? So when you have the world watching, think about outside of just thinking, I already got 2 championships. they like me in San Francisco. I literally showed you by breaking one of my legs. I literally did what you told me to do, go break a leg. I broke a leg for this team. I'm about this team. I'm about this community. I'll do what I'll put my career on the line for you. Yeah. And this is my jersey number. That jersey, out of the 90 million people in America that got his jersey, how many? 1 million, 2 million here? Man, but outside of America, that Warriors jersey is selling to people who don't even know what the Warriors are. And it's selling like crazy. So why would you want to change that? His OKC jersey, you can check and see what it sold for. I mean, in quantity, but his Warriors jersey?
Right. Well, there's no rings behind the OKC jersey.
Right. There's no rings. It's kind of sexy sometimes. It got New York Knicks colors. That's all I'm saying. It's just Knicks colors.
Well, let's talk about the Lakers for a second.
Yes.
Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis. I always loved the brow.
Where would you put Anthony Davis in the top players right now?
5.
What number? Number 5.
Number 5, yeah.
So who would you rank as a top 5?
Okay,
right
so
now?
that's another thing.
Right now.
When you talk about players, according to their age, where they are in their career, they can have a good 2-3 years. Like Gilbert Arenas, one of the best players I've ever, not serious, one of the best players I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And remember when he was just balling out of control and the O was representing Adidas? He was killing it.
Right.
And then
until he brought a gun to work.
I can't walk around. Yo, man, he's in D.C.
And pulled it out on somebody in the locker room.
Hey, man.
But go on.
Hey, man. Hey. Leave my man Gilbert knows what was important at that time.
Right.
I'm going to go on that one. He must have known. Not saying I didn't want to do some of the things he's done. But that's what I mean. It was like Gilbert Arenas was the man in the lead for a while.
Yep.
So he was the number 1 player in the lead for a while.
Okay.
So I can't really put him in your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, so right now, who's your bunch right now? The top 5, even if they're in various orders.
Okay. The champion, Kawhi.
Okay.
Steph Curry.
Okay.
Kevin Durant.
Okay.
LeBron James. Damian Lillard.
So you would put Damian.
Oh no, Greek Freak. But I can get going. The Greek Freak, Damian Lillard.
So Anthony Davis hasn't gotten mentioned yet.
Well, because I have to get past my brainwash of what the NBA has given me. Whoever was in the highlights, but I'm going down. But Anthony Davis is because he's always. It's like, you know who he is. He's David Robinson. You talk about great players.
Okay.
No one mentions David Robinson, but he's in the top 50.
Yeah, David Robinson was a force of nature when he was playing.
Period.
And he was just so well-rounded. Like, remember the whole military thing and everything? Like,
doesn't
really
get in trouble.
Intelligent and, the family values. Yeah, he was dope, man. I remember when he was popping. I remember that.
Unstoppable.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I stopped him in college because he admired me. And I was so nervous, like, this young kid is going to destroy me today. I don't play well against left-handed people. And I got him 2 quick fouls. And I was like, whew. He was like, yeah, man, great guy. I said, never tell anybody how much you like him before you play him. Because when he said, oh, man, I really like your game. And I'm thinking, I've been watching film. I don't play well against people who are left-handed. I got to do something. So I got him. I ran into him. He fouled me. I ran into him again. He fouled me. Thank you, referee. You got to sit down. But like David Robinson, man, everybody say what they want. Him and Tim Duncan, how many championships they got? 5 or something like that? Yeah.
Okay, so the Lakers, they now got LeBron. Now they got Anthony Davis.
Yes.
Lonzo is gone.
So far.
Oh, you think they might bring him back?
Well, Lonzo is gone. Kuzma stays.
Okay.
Right. So now you got a good 3 right there.
Right. But
Rondo back.
Okay.
Rondo back. Is Rondo still on the squad?
Yeah.
No one's paying attention. No one's paying attention. This is about to be the most in-shape veteran team.
So you don't think they're going to bring another big player like a Kyrie?
No.
Because that's what they've been saying.
Okay, so if they don't, this is the deal. They don't need big name. They need a consistent player that will come in like, remember how dope Nate Robinson was? You bring in a Nate Robinson who you don't know, like he's gonna, you look at the end and you look at the sheet and be, man, Nate Robinson is only 6'1". He's like the tough man Isaiah, I said, like he was a gangster. You bring that in. What's the kid that plays for Indiana?
Oladipo?
Oh.
Victor Oladipo. I don't know if am I pronouncing it right?
Yeah. Okay. Imagine having him on the Lakers. Imagine a guy, I call him my Joe Dumas, who makes sure everybody is in the best position to have the ball and get numbers and play defense and be quiet, laid back. You can be the star. I just want to win. You want that. That's a veteran. I don't need this. People talk, I remember I was on D.L. Hughley, and he was like, well, you deserve your first 2 championships, but with the Lakers, you whatever. And it's so funny because that's like saying that when you're on stage, the only reason you're successful is your talent, not your management, not your agent, not your lawyer, not your stylist. Like none of them had anything to do with your success. That's the dumbest thing in the world.
Yeah.
So when you're on the squad and you could, Robert Horry wasn't an all-star. Without Robert Horry, you don't have those championships. In Houston, San Antonio, or with the Lakers. If you ain't got a Robert Horry on your squad, you don't have a Sam Cassell on your squad. I just go back to my time knowing guys who had to be in that situation. And I hear people making these jokes in comparison to Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen's a great player. Michael Jordan, in most people's minds, is the greatest player.
Yeah, but you've said that you think Pippen was a better player than Jordan.
I didn't say better player. I said Pippen was an all-around.
You said he was the most skilled player you've ever played.
I've ever played. He plays every single position.
Right.
He can play center to point guard. No one else can say they can do that. Center to point guard, and well. He can shoot the long ball. He can dunk on you. He understands offense, positioning. He plays defense. He can spin you. His arms and his hands are like Kawhi. I think they're all from the same planet. I really think if we took...
They're all aliens?
Like, seriously, if we did a scan, they don't even have bones. They just like, they're sitting around, they're Terminators. Because Michael and Scottie and Kawhi, you remember Kawhi was dribbling and like he picked the ball up and he put it back and they went, because he couldn't help it. It's like, you know, he's like walking by, if he pick up somebody's kid and be like, oh, I got another kid, let me put it down. It's like, they are aliens.
You know Magic Johnson.
Like a book.
Since last time that we talked, he just quit. Didn't tell anybody, just quit one day.
And then sent a tweet. He just tweeted it.
He said, I'm out.
He just tweeted it. He was like, EJ Jr. was like, this how you do it. This how you get people off you. EJ Jr. is like the king of social media. All right, this is the deal. And I agree with Magic. Because when I watched him on Stephen A., he said a lot. Right?
Yeah, the fact that he actually had to go on a talk show to explain why he quit and address the bullying rumors and stuff like that, I thought was a bit odd.
Yeah, it was out of character for Irvin.
Yeah.
But it's of times. Of the times, everybody has to hear it to believe that it is truth because it came out of your mind and you got up on stage and you said it on a large platform. That's the way things are negotiated now. I tell you this, they've been talking about Anthony Davis being a Laker. I said it's not going to happen because I read it in the paper. I saw it on television. That's not how it usually happens. Then next you know, Anthony Davis, it's like there's no behind the scenes negotiating.
Yeah.
To the point where Magic just, I think, woke up and said, what am I doing? I think Magic said, what am I doing? I'm richer than all of them.
Right.
I'm a boss. Magic Johnson said, why do I have a boss? How could you be the boss and have a boss? He's the boss. You're the owner of the Dodgers, the most successful California franchise ever. even though they don't have the championship the Lakers have, baseball is the biggest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
You're with the Dodgers. Tommy Lasorda's still alive. You got the Dodgers. You're an owner of the Dodgers. You don't need to be an employee of the Lakers. You got to let that go. You're, and like he said on the show, he's in billionaire conversations now. And what happened, I think he just woke up one day and said, I shouldn't even be in the conversation with the people who are having conversations. I did that, did it well, got my 5 championships, got the T-shirt and the hat, cool.
Okay, so do you see the Lakers next year going to the finals? Your predictions are very important.
Way better than Stephen A. Smith. Yeah, I see them. I see. This is what I see for 2020. I see Golden State going out in the first or second round, maybe the first round.
Really?
This is why. 5 times to the chip, right? They came back with 3 of the 5. 5 times to the chip. Hard to get to that point. You see, everybody's body broke down. So they're going to spend this next 2 months supposedly resting. They're not going to rest because they don't. That's not how you do it. Mm-hmm. They're going to somehow rest, but then they're going to feel, oh no, I can't get too out of shape. So they're not really knowing how to heal their body. They already had this past year, Draymond said this about this person, about this. It's just being around each other too long. So when you finally go out in May, as opposed to the end of June, you now can look back and go, man, why can't we all just get along? Then it comes back into it. Plus, they're going to change things on those teams.
Yeah.
So you're going to lose the core and a lot of the spin.
Right, because I'm from the Bay, so I was rooting for Golden State the whole time, and I can honestly say that they weren't robbed. There was no bad calls. In fact, there were some calls at the end that was
for them.
Like, remember the tripping call when Steph Curry just tripped on himself and got to take 2 shots for that? Like,
they tried everything they could.
Steph Curry was missing threes like crazy. And this is supposed to be the best 3-point shooter in the league of all time, they say. Like, the Raptors came and just beat them.
They did. They beat them
fair and square.
They came and they beat them. And even, this is, my man Draymond is, like I told you, my second favorite player. Well, LeBron is but Draymond is a Piston to me. We just lease him out to, but he's a Piston. And I like Draymond's mentality. I like how he comes in. I like how it's all business, and he'll punk you if he needs to. I like that.
Right.
I just don't think Durant is going to be back in time.
Right.
I think he should rest his body.
I agree.
I think Steph should rest his body. Clay's going to have
messed
to.
up, yeah.
You're going to have to. They're going to have to make moves to keep the team young and moving. So they got to, shut it down for a second. They're not going to win this Indianapolis 500.
Okay. All right. We'll see what happens. So who do you predict will go to the finals? The Lakers and who?
In Toronto.
Aha. Lakers and Toronto.
Yeah, because Toronto's not going to change their team. They don't care what it's going to cost. That's the best thing about being in Canada, because you have a fan group that likes winners. The Maple Leafs, Toronto, the baseball team, right? That they like winners. They like the way that city is set up. Huge Asian influence. Mm-hmm. So winning is a lot to do with that whole pride thing too.
All right, so you heard it here first. The next NBA Finals will be the Lakers versus the Raptors.
Yeah, I just hope. I wish I was wrong and it was Philadelphia. I really wish it was Philly.
The biggest IPO of 2019.
Yes.
Is
Beyond Meat.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt.
No question. Up 309 points.
Yeah. I am an avid stock investor, but I'm never an IPO investor. I never touch IPOs.
Good.
And most times I'm perfectly correct. Uber tanked, Lyft tanked, I think Snapchat tanked. Most IPOs tank because there's a bunch of hype, and then once the the financials start coming in and so forth, they usually don't do very well. I would rather wait and see how the company does.
Right.
Beyond Meat is really a fucking unicorn, though. This is something that really does not go along with what I feel is reality when it comes to financials right now. Now, you were actually right there ringing the bell with the Beyond Meat
Ethan and the
CEO and everyone else. You were right there.
Suited and booted.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to, he said, hey, man, I think it'd be great for you to be there since, you were with us from the beginning.
Okay.
And I was blessed to be there from the beginning. Everyone thought I was crazy in 2007 when I said go vegan. Everyone was like, what does that mean?
Okay. Well, Beyond Meat had a $25 IPO price.
Right.
Which instantly jumped up that first day.
Right.
To like, was it
87.
60, 87? It is currently at $175.
Beautiful.
It is up 7 times from the IPO price, which doesn't really affect you because you got in way before the IPO.
But right at the IPO, I should have called you. I had a chance because I had stock already that was going to see what was left, and I know.
Really?
Yeah.
You're telling me this now?
Yeah, and
we're not friends anymore. Get the fuck out of my fucking
1,800 more shares. It's like for $45,000, which people watching don't think I'm just saying but for $45,000, right? It's better than Vegas. It's more fun, and it's a different kind of legal, but it's the same exact thing. But listen, veganism is the future.
Listen, I've been eating Beyond Burgers now for a few years. We've talked about this. It started with Veggie Grill, and then everyone else is picking up on it. I believe in the product. What it's doing price-wise, I'm not touching it just because it's going through the fucking roof. Mm-hmm. And from what I understand, you would know much better than me, there is a lockup period for all the initial investors, which is going to be over usually 6 months after IPO.
Yeah, in
November. So once we hit November, all the initial investors like you will actually have the opportunity to sell.
Right.
So you're going to have a lot more shares going into the market.
Most of us won't sell.
You think?
Yeah, it's not a lot of us.
Okay.
I mean, it makes no sense to. You know what I'm saying? It's like the roots of it.
Okay.
So,
well, I'm not going to get into your pockets, but
good.
When you invested into Beyond Meat, did you put a lot in or just a little something?
A lot in.
You put a lot in. So you're good.
Yeah. So like every time we was on the show and you were like beating around and about finances, I never ever talk about it because it doesn't make sense to have a conversation with people who aren't awake and who don't get it. Mm-hmm. I'm doing a raise for my other company, Ayurvedic Pharmaceutical. But literally, we don't take an investment from you unless you can also do something for the company. Mm-hmm. So we're going after doctors. We're not trying to get the guy. If you're a doctor and you believe in CBD and alternative, being a functional, we want you to invest, and we want this. There's our lab. Here's this. If you're not into cannabis, I'm not into cannabis. I just want to throw the money. I go, well, how long do you want to wait? Because I got a guy right now wanting his money back, but not understanding the cannabis thing is about to be throughout the country.
Yeah. Like
people don't understand you put this in and you let it build.
Yeah, you got to wait.
Right, you got to wait.
Buy and hold.
Right.
Buy, hold, and prosper. There's like the richest, one of the richest black men in the world. He's a Jamaican guy. Mm-hmm. That's his motto of his company. Buy, hold, and prosper.
Yeah. The Richest Man in Babylon explained in that book.
Exactly. Great book. So out of all the investments that you've made throughout your life, is Beyond Meat your most profitable investment ever?
Yes. Okay. This is another thing, though.
I'm happy for you, man. Sincerely.
All right, thank
you. Sincerely. You know what I mean? I'm just playing around with you. I'm very happy for you.
There's been times I made $3 million a year, and there's been times I made $200,000 a year, mm-hmm. and there's been times I called to say, let me borrow $50,000, $60,000.
You're not making those phone calls anymore.
No, I'm not making those phone calls. and I'm paying all those people back. But no, but I had a lot of shares of Canopy, which is the Canadian
I know about
marijuana shares that is now, everything behind Snoop, and give Martha Stewart the deal that's Snoop. During that deal with Snoop. And he got more shares than I did, but I had a lot of shares. And I was in when it was $1.75, and now it's at $67. And I had more than 200,000 shares. So it just floated my life for a long time, because pieces, I would say, 25,000 shares here, you get this much money, put the taxes on it. I got this to spread out, right? Because we talked about nothing's permanent, everything's temporary. So I learned from then, leave a certain amount of money that doesn't move. I call it the principal. Don't touch the principal and live off your taxable income.
Congrats, man. Congrats. And like I said, Beyond Meat, I think, is a great product.
We got another one coming.
Yeah?
Can I do that? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Can't tell you that, right? I can't tell you.
Go ahead.
New barn in organics. New BARN. So this is the deal. So now the milk industry is down $1.6 billion.
Okay.
Right? Dairy.
Yeah,
So
because
that's cheese.
soy milk is up and everything.
So soy milk, almond
Almond
milk,
milk,
cashew cheese. So we're almond milk. And almond milk is the milk that if you have a nut allergy, you can still drink.
Okay.
So we don't have to worry about, like a lot of nut people with nut allergies can drink. The other ones, they can't. So if dairy is going down and the new dairy is coming up, I looked and saw who was making a difference. They went from plastic to paper. They were talking about regenerative, so they had something else. So I'm in Whole Foods going, who do I meet here? How do I get down involved in this? Hey, I can do this, this, and this. How many shares of that can I have? Right? Then give me cash. And if you can't, I want to be involved on this level because I believe in this lifestyle. I've been believing in this lifestyle. The lifestyle, because you cannot keep killing animals and sustain life. It has to switch, right? So since people are realizing it has to switch, what you guys call alternatives, you got to get into. The milks, the cheeses. I got the vegan egg, right? And this guy hit me on Instagram after he saw me on your show. I don't know where to buy it. I just know where to go get it. And I missed that taste of eggs, not gonna lie. I missed the fried egg because I had it every day of my life. When I tasted it, I was like, oh, it's just the taste I missed it. I didn't have to have the egg. That's the new one. And then there's other, like Impossible Burger, but they have GMOs in it, I hear.
Yeah, I've tried the Impossible Burger. I think the Beyond Burger is a better product.
Yeah,
I've tried both. Yeah,
Kramer is literally, I didn't even know. When I went and did CNBC with my boy Scott Wapner, who's been my boy from DC 30 years now, 35 years. Kramer, I'm going back in September and having a conversation. I was working with this car company, and this car company was electric vehicle, and I was like, we got to do this and this and this and this, and they were looking at me like, Negro, just being an ambassador. And I was like, nah, man, you got to get vegan leather here. You got to change up. We got to change. I race to get it in, but I don't beat you in the head.
Well, yeah, I mean, Beyond Burger right now is like the hot ticket on Wall Street.
I got fried chicken coming.
Oh yeah? Okay.
House of chicken.
All right, vegan chicken.
Vegan
Okay.
chicken. I'm going to bring it to you, and then it'll be the one time everybody was going to see you sitting in this chair
and eat the vegan chicken.
Yeah, because I'm not going to eat fried chicken on television.
Okay. Okay. And like I said, the price is just going so insane that I'm not touching it.
I don't know. It might be past that point, right? It's $150. It's $150 higher than it was the day you could have bought it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even though you couldn't even really get it at 25.
Yeah, most people would have flipped too if they got it at 25. Most people would have got it at 25 and then flipped at 87.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even be where they
flip.
are right now.
Yeah, it was a nice flip. But you got in early, man. Congrats.
Thank you very much.
You know.
Nipsey passing hit me, and I only met the guy twice.
Yeah, I've interviewed him.
Right. I met him when my friend Jennifer McDaniel's just a manager. She's now like the general manager for Scooter and all of them. She's fine and smart and probably one of the smartest females I've not even say that, one of the smartest people I've ever met. And she introduced me to Nipsey. And I thought since then I was following him, liking his music, seeing what he was doing. So I got involved with my boy Roland in Compton. So we bought a commercial property, and I'm going to give you the pictures so you can edit this. What the walls look like, right, and the retail part. Then all the food part, you go in, you go, oh, let me get a piece of fried chicken, let me get it, and it's all vegan. Okay. But it doesn't. We're not going to make you say, oh, we're eating vegan food, this is nasty. We're making it as if this is what we serve. If you don't want to eat here, you don't have to eat here. On this side, it's more community things. We find it. We got a farmer's market every weekend. Okay. With all organic farms, and we literally take farms because there's still farms in Compton, and it's right down the street from New Body Care and Dr. Goss, and who's been pushing this. And I realized, according to what Nipsey was saying, because when you see where his place is, it's so many times we don't need to buy the Bentley or the Benz or the 3 Escalades or the Range Rover, or you have to get your girl 5 bags because her bag game got to be great. We got to get these shoes, even though they were $1,700, I got them for $900, right? So I'm talking to all people that look like me right now, because I know they're listening. As opposed to doing that, we got enough stuff. Enough. And I can say that. They go, well, you were good. And if you don't have it, don't aspire to get it. Enough. They boycotted Gucci.
Yep.
They don't even know what that means. They don't even know even the thought of it. Jay-Z said, stop drinking Cristal. They went down 45%. Just from this community. Stop buying the bags. Stop getting the cars. Stop buying houses that you can't. Stop buying stuff. You know what I'm saying? And the reason I say that, and then people are going to say, well, you at the age you can do that. I never liked it in the first place. The reason we do it is to up one another. We don't need to do that.
Right.
Because I was thinking, what if I went to a church and said, hey, let me say something. Everybody that wants to invest into this community, you have to put $50 in this right here. And then we're going to gather all this money when we get to this point where they're going to start doing this. And this is where we're going to start. If you give them a plan on what's going to happen with the money and they start seeing it, cool. I went down to Lamert Park now and looking at property through the roof. But I already know. So I'm in Crenshaw looking for property, and we're looking for commercial property.
Well, yeah. You know, I was talking to a friend of mine about this recently. I feel that one of the biggest things that hurts lower income communities is this. I have a place in New York, mm-hmm. and I go up to East Harlem to go cop, to go to this one, out of the way like little food spot. So I mean East Harlem. Mm-hmm. I'm in the projects, and I'm looking around, and everyone is wearing hot sneakers. Here you have people that are either on welfare, living paycheck to paycheck, maybe have $1,000 in their bank account, are risking their freedom by doing illegal activities mm-hmm. to make money, and yet they all have the same type of sneakers that I'm wearing, and I'm relatively a rich guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? All that money that is used, and not just the sneakers. I'm seeing designer shirts. I'm seeing nice clothes. I'm seeing all this material stuff. Imagine just in that one area, if everyone took all that money and invested it back into multi-unit properties, mm-hmm. stocks, whatever, things where your money is actually working for you, that community could be transformed in a few years.
Got it. So,
do you agree with me, number one?
I agree that can happen in theory.
In theory.
In theory. And not just in theory. The difference was, as Africans living in America or enslaved in America, we have been designed and bred. So we've been designed and bred. True story. You had it on this show with John Amos, of course, the strongest, with the strongest, and you just like they did horses. It's like, that was it. We get it.
Yeah.
But we also were trained not to trust one another. So we're literally ingrained not to trust our guy who looks like us. We believe the hype about us as well. So we believe, oh, they're crooks, they're gang members, they're rapists. We believe the same perpetual lies. We believe it about ourselves. The Koreans, the reason it was easier for Koreans in Chinatown, right? It's funny. You got Chinatown, Koreatown, little Filipino town, Armenia town, but when you got black people together, you got the ghetto. We don't have Africa. So we don't have anything identifying.
You don't have Africa Town.
We don't have Africa Town.
Yeah.
We got ghettos.
Yeah.
We don't have Africans. We got NIGGERs. We don't have we don't have an identity. So if there's no identity, there's no way to put it together. Dr. Umar, who is, I watch him on who is literally
Dr. Umar Johnson?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I listened to him.
I've interviewed him before.
Yeah, I listened to him and I like his velocity and I like his force. I like how he comes, how he speaks to us, how he gets to a point. But I also realize we don't have to talk like that anymore. We ain't got to talk like pimps. Like, we ain't got to be like, yeah, brother. We don't have to do that. But we have to figure out. I was with Brother Farrakhan, Minister Farrakhan, the Honorable Minister Farrakhan at Nipsey's funeral. And I felt good when I was around him. Everybody feels good when he was around him. Mm-hmm. But he travels with 3 rabbis now.
I heard about that.
You know what I'm saying? So
I heard about that, yeah.
He literally opened up his mentality. We got to open it up, but we got to keep it to us. When you're Jewish, I went to a wedding the other day, and of course, this kid's, his basket was going to be filled because it was a really, really good Jewish wedding. and I watched Hebrews or Jews realize to keep it in the community. And I had to explain to all black people out there, being Jewish is not a race, it's a mindset. So the people with that mindset are in community together. We got to change our mindset on what is important. You can't really, and when they're seeing videos of somebody in a Lambo, in a Bentley, stacks of money like this, on the phone, you only, most of the time, you become what you can see.
Right, and let me just make this point. I have interviewed some of the biggest drug dealers in America, from the Freeway Rickies to Little D's to whoever. One thing that I always hear consistently, these guys style themselves and spend money the way they do is because they are in full understanding that they are going to go to prison and everything will be seized. So therefore, while they are not in prison, they are going to spend money on a bunch of unnecessary stuff knowingly. Jewelry, cars, whatever. So anybody who has a legitimate job who is looking up to these people and is trying to style themselves after these people, you inherently have a problem right there. Because those people know all that money is going to get lost. You're just wasting it to waste it.
And this is the deal. When I see a flashy dope dealer, my friends who were living that lifestyle, who are now in prison, they just want to get out and talk to kids.
Yeah.
Everybody I know, they just want to get out.
Yeah.
And they want to talk to kids. They want to say, hey, but they perpetuate it in the movies, on television.
Yeah.
When basketball players started looking like rappers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You thank Allen Iverson for that.
Yeah, Yo Gotti, man. Yo Gotti was up in, I was up in this up in Beverly Hills. I'll use it that way. I saw Yo Gotti get out of the Rolls Royce Phantom truck or whatever.
The SUV, yeah.
Right. And I saw Travis Barker getting out of a black one. I said, Yo Gotti getting out of a white one. It's funny.
Travis Barker or Travis Scott?
Travis Barker. Travis Barker is a wonderful vegan. We were at Monty's.
Oh, yeah, right. He is a vegan. Yeah.
And he pulled up. And as soon as I saw it, I looked and I was like, there's only 3 of those on the street. And he was in the black one. And I said, yo, Gotti. And I go, that is the bomb. So I want to tell everybody that wants a Rolls Royce, if you get a Rolls Royce and it's not a coupe, it should come with a driver.
Right.
I'm going to say it again, black people. If I see you in a Rolls Royce with 4 doors and you're driving, the person behind you is the important one. Stop buying Bentleys. Stop buying Rolls Royces. If it's not an SUV, even if it is, if it has those doors, you should it costs $50,000 a year to have a driver. $4,500 a month.
Yeah.
To have a driver. If you buy a Bentley for $400,000, add $50,000 on it.
Right.
I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
Don't let me see you driving again.
It's like driving a Maybach yourself.
Yeah. It's like, why are you driving a Maybach? That's why the back seat has televisions and what are you doing?
What are you doing?
You don't do that. But if you don't know, because if you see, oh man, you was pushing a Bentley, yeah, that means you were driving it for somebody.
Right.
You shouldn't be pushing a Bentley. You should be waiting there, and when the doors get out, you should do like Morris Day showed us in Purple Rain how you should do it. Jerome should drive, I'm going to sit behind you.
Right.
In the big cat dude. That's balling.
That's balling.
That's balling. You driving a 4-door Bentley is not balling.
Yeah.
You're a driver. Get in the back.
When They See Us recently came out.
Yes.
I interviewed the Central Park 5, 2 of the guys,
And
Yusuf and Raymond.
Yes, that was a great interview.
One of my all-time favorites.
Yes.
And I got to, I rewatched the whole thing. We just released the full interview because it was in parts originally, but we released the whole thing, and I got to watch it from beginning to end. And, when I'm doing interviews, I zone out. I have to go back and see what happened. And after watching the film, I'm like, wow, they really laid out the story exactly how the film laid it out to the T. And it's such a heartbreaking story when you watch it from the people who actually went through it for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But you were actually in New York.
I was a first-time champion. I come back that summer. I'm doing John Salley Day in the Park. I'm hanging with Mike Tyson.
Okay.
He's the champion. I'm the champion. I'm in New York. I'm there that summer. And it seemed like the thing just doused everything. It was like, I felt sorry for those cats. But it was our first light to what was happening to OJ, if you realize what happened. The way they treated the Central Park 5 kids that didn't even know one another.
Yep.
Right? A woman said she was raped by one person. They put 5 people.
The woman didn't know she was raped at all. But
no DNA.
Right.
They don't even know one another.
Yep.
They act like, oh, this is a white woman laying here with her ass in the air, and everybody went by and hit it real quick. And no, and then it was like, you can't go anywhere in New York. Stay away from Central Park. I'm telling you, stay away from parks. Almost black people don't come out at night because race riots are going off in New York now. People are upset. They're thinking it was a tough time, and I stayed at the Plaza,
which is right there.
Right there. And
right
my
by
brother was
Central
like,
Park.
"Man, can't you get another hotel not near?" I mean, that's how bad it was.
Yeah.
And I remember too when Donald Trump did that. But Donald Trump, everybody doesn't realize
Trump
was the man.
Was a full page ad calling for the death penalty of these 5 young kids.
Yeah. Death penalty.
And they actually questioned him recently about this?
Yeah, they questioned him yesterday, and he said there's a lot of people that, but whether or not
He said they admitted their guilt.
they admitted their guilt.
What's the problem?
This is the deal. That's what I mean. They knew before they went to jail
Yeah, they knew.
that this DNA, because he said it just had caused other crimes. While this was going on, the DNA was showing up, and they were having to record the DNA. They had to sit back and go, hey, this is not happening. Plus, they're going to stop. They realized DNA had let out so many brothers to jail. If they were to really right now say, let's just do all DNA on every single case, and if how the jails would be empty, who's going to make your North Face You know?
Right.
Who's gonna make your North Face clothes now? Who's gonna make your Made in America clothes now if that happens?
Yeah, you know, I mean, and the DA, she's still saying that it's, you know, the depiction was unfair and it's still untrue, and she still is holding on to her story that her
How could
conviction.
you hold on to the story? Like, this is the craziest thing. You can't hold on to the story when you say, hey, this is the guy, this is the DNA, none of their DNA matched.
Right.
You knew that.
No,
Period. That we can just stop right there. You knew that.
No.
They didn't have DNA there. None of them had DNA. 15, you're not putting, come on.
Right. No, I remember, you know, when I was interviewing two of the guys, they said that the police even tried to like kind of trip, I think, Corey Wise into like part of the crime scene clothing to try to get his DNA onto the clothes and then go back and try to prove it. Like they were doing really dirty tactics.
Right.
None of their confessions matched up with what actually happened. None of them knew each other, and they all went to prison, and all their lives got fucked up. And you know, Corey Wise, if you know, I got to see an interview with him on Oprah, and he doesn't seem like he's all there. He looks fucked
Feet are
up.
bad for a reason.
Yeah.
Right? He was the older one. He was the smooth one. His talk is different. He's totally institutionalized.
Yeah.
You asked everything you can possibly ask besides saying, how many times were y'all raped? That you did everything but say that. And they just, to their credit, was like, jail is hard for you. The only thing above or worse is a child molester.
Child molester, yeah.
But prison is also fair to some cats when they look and they can tell if you that kind of person too. I'm not saying I'm an expert in prison. My brother's a CEO, my best friend's a CEO, and I've always, you know, wondered what it was, not wanting to be it, but it's hard to have brains trapped. And that mentality, your brain is trapped. You're living amongst people, and then people are gonna know if you're telling the truth or not. They're gonna know if you're a rapist or not. They ain't just gonna take it on that. They're gonna check you first, and they ain't gonna go on your reputation. There's gonna be people say, yo, so y'all in here, yo, we had nothing. I don't even know that cat. When they start hearing the story, you might get protected.
Well, you mentioned O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
He recently hit Twitter.
Yeah, I saw
Did
that.
you see those videos?
Yeah, man.
Did you know O.J. at all?
I know OJ, man. I know.
Really?
Yeah, I know OJ, man.
How well?
I'm gonna get in trouble for this. If you know OJ, you know he couldn't have done it.
Okay.
If you know OJ, man, that's this. And I don't even want to people get upset with me about saying it. You know, we used to make joke, call him Waterhead, and you know, make jokes with him. And when I was when I took over for Steve Harvey at 100.3 The Beat, you know, we had Summer Jam, and I look at my general manager, OJ was back there, 2005. I said, hey, OJ Simpson there, you mind if I bring him on stage? She goes, most definitely not. I was like, it's all black folks here. They gonna cheer. They was like, you will not bring him on stage. It was so funny. Yeah, man, I know his daughter, him. Like, if you want to get into that, let's talk about this on OJ. I want to say something.
Okay.
And then I want people to do the research. All of a sudden, OJ's in Vegas, no gun. Supposedly, he tells the guy, you guys bring guns. Why he would do that makes no sense, and that's a lie. Because if you want to threaten somebody, you don't need a gun. You can go in with two big guys, you thinking you're going to get beat up. So you don't have to tell him to bring a gun. He goes in, he realized they stole his stuff.
Right.
This is stolen stuff, selling stuff, written, signed by him for something else. He goes to get it. They put OJ in jail for almost 20 years, and they called it racketeering. The guys supposedly had the guns, they got no time because all they had to do is say, OJ told me to bring the gun. Now, I'm not responsible for it, and they were known to say, the cops were known to say this, we got him. So they put him in jail for going to get his own stuff for almost 14 years. Wait, he didn't touch anybody. He didn't pull a gun on anybody.
Okay.
He didn't do any of that. He went to his own stuff. These guys turn on him and say, this is what happened.
Okay.
They get no jail time.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
Clearly, he got sentenced for getting off for the Nicole Simpson.
So that right there is not
Ronald
justice.
Goldman murder. Clearly, even though the judge said this wasn't that, you see murderers who get less than 13 years. That's what he was sentenced for. Now, to be fair, that was not technically his stuff. He had lost a civil suit to the Goldman family, and that was all their stuff.
Okay, so
He was hiding it.
okay. Can I say this?
I mean, am I right?
You are right. Okay, I'm gonna say, technically it was their stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
So he gets 13 years in jail for getting back the stuff that the court decided. Even you have to understand where we're going here, and it is what it is.
I mean, the whole thing got caught on tape, which I think is really what buried him. The whole thing was recorded. Have you heard the recordings?
Yeah, I heard him. But dog, he didn't bring the gun. He didn't.
He was like, yeah, who got the motherfucking gun? Yeah, you got the gun, right? Who got
he was? Yeah, he wanted to talk shit.
Yeah,
because that's what people are doing.
Right.
13 years in jail, fam.
Me personally, I think he could have gotten maybe 2. I would say that's a 2-year offense. No one was really held hostage.
No one's held hostage, and the guy supposedly with the gun got no jail time.
Right. I mean, you saw what it is.
You right now, my man, Plexico, is in New York City going, I didn't even shoot anybody or threaten anybody. I got 3 years in jail. For having a gun.
I shot myself.
And I go to jail. But these guys are carrying guns. They don't get any jail time. And you know everywhere it's still going to be carrying a concealed weapon without a license. Everywhere, even in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. So you didn't want to talk to me about it. You want to beat the guy down. I just know this. I know that in 1989, when the exonerated 5 was put up, it was black against white again. It was, this isn't fair. It was the same thing as the mentality as it used to be, where hang 'em high, they touched the white woman. That's what they said to them. Mm-hmm. They went with no evidence. Feinstein knew better, but she had to do something. Once that happens, they go to, everyone knows that's wrong, but we can't do shit about it. What happens? OJ comes in. And then Johnny, it became the Warriors against the Raptors. Like, it became a game in the public. You remember that? The OJ Simpson, people were getting home to watch the trial.
Well, look,
setting up your VCR.
Yeah, I remember. I remember the trial. I remember the Bronco chase. I remember everything. It was surreal.
It wasn't a chase because they were
just slowly driving. Yeah. The whole world watching. But I can tell you this: every black person I've ever spoken to on camera, when I asked them if they thought that OJ was guilty, they all said yes, we think he was guilty. But it was just nice with all the black people that have gotten convicted of crimes they didn't do, that finally we see one black person get off, use the system to actually win.
Me and my boy Michael Christian, when we got here to California, because I just knew I was going to be on television. We get here, we take the tour. It was the OJ tour.
The OJ tour.
Did you know that?
I didn't know this.
You can go to the house and they tell you this, and then they show you the route they feel it take, and now the house they was in is knocked down and redone, and they do all that, and they got the timing. And I was like, and I know the guy who got the Oscar, you know, he did 30 for 30s, God bless him.
The one on OJ?
Yeah.
Great series.
Great.
Incredible.
Well, you know, yeah. And its depiction, I think Cuba Gooding Jr. did an unbelievable job. Let's talk about him, right?
Yep.
We got video of him not touching that woman.
Well, kind of reaching over, but not groping.
Right.
Yeah.
Not touching that woman, like I said.
Yeah.
But that white woman said he touched me.
He got arrested.
That gets Emmett Till killed.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
It ain't changed. So when they say, do I think, I'm saying different than every black person you've ever been on the show.
So you're saying
without me giving two shits about anybody that doesn't like it, I don't think he had the mentality to do what was being done.
You know O.J. Simpson, and based on what you know about him, you felt that he did not do it.
I didn't feel he could do it, no.
Okay.
And then this is the deal.
Well, I mean,
I also don't feel the evidence held up, and I saw it. I saw O.J. Simpson go from the guy that everybody wanted to be in what hurts to them taking a picture and demonizing him on the cover of Time. I've seen on Newsweek.
Darkening his skin.
I saw that. I go, that don't even look like OJ.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
I remember.
It's the same part of manipulation in the media, that not saying anything, but just to give you a depiction, which, on your show I say a lot, but there's a way when they want you to go a certain direction, they would market it to you, to your sensibilities or to your lack of sense.
On Father's Day, I decided to ruffle a few feathers.
Oh, yeah.
And I posted a picture of Bill Cosby. Mm-hmm. And I say what you want about Bill Cosby's personal life, but he influenced an entire generation to be a good father and to take care of your family on The Cosby Show.
Right.
And things just went crazy.
Crazy.
Half the people actually agreed with me and said, you know something, you're right. And half the people like, he's a rapist. He's a convicted rapist. How could you even bring up, that's just a character on television. But here's Bill Cosby. Did he really rape all those women?
I know this. I know they put them on Time or one of the magazine covers, right? They put 51 seats or that's how they market it. That's how they got the cover to make you think about what's happening.
Yeah.
And then when he's walking, a woman is screaming at him and saying whatever and jumps in the bushes. And, Eddie Griffin was on your show.
Yeah.
Right?
Eddie Griffin talked about Bill Cosby.
There is a systematic effort to destroy every black male entertainer's image. They want us all to have an actress by name. Kobe raped a white woman in Colorado. Dr. Cosby raped 37 bitches and is still counting. Nobody leaves this business clean. Michael Jackson fucked little white children.
Michael Jordan?
Michael Jordan gambled.
Right, and then his dad got killed.
You understand?
They try to tie that.
You're not going to die clean.
Right, and then I hear people, I love Doc, and what I've known about Doc, I don't believe.
Bill Cosby?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, so you know Bill Cosby?
Yeah, I know Dr. Cosby to do anything like that, and I don't want to believe that to that point, right? And I've been in Hollywood a long time, and nowadays, like I say, because of the social media, your shows like you, if you take an opposing side to the side that people consider to be the majority because the media said so, you're wrong.
Right, and I don't give a shit.
I'm starting not to because
y'all can bash me all you want.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
You're not shutting down.
You're like, bash me all I want. I'm invested.
Yeah, I own all this stuff.
Right.
You're just bringing more traffic to my shit.
But yeah, and we can go on into an image of a lot of things and a lot of people. I know you and I. So they talked about Harvey Weinstein, right? And we talked about women who literally, came out and said he did this and did that and did this and he gets no jail time. And people want to compare that and compare this. No, it's just different circumstances. It's a different law team. It's a different strategy. It's a different place. But when it comes down to, I had a friend of mine, Megan, I try to get her to make sure that her parents who were born in the 50s watch When They See Us. It's the most important show to watch, period. Because you can go back and see where I was wrong. And I wish my President Trump would go back and say, I was wrong. I shouldn't have. You know what? I was right because I was angry at that time, but they've been exonerated. Maybe we should go and get this guy whose life, let him not live, whatever. But you shouldn't dismiss it, and he should have better people giving him instruction.
Yeah, man. I mean, black people have been getting the short end of the stick.
Black people have been getting the stick for a long time.
Yeah.
And this is why we're going to talk about it. I'm literally, like I said, I'm doing insurance companies. We're doing cannabis. But I literally was going to do a fund. But if you do a fund, like you do a raise, and you say you're going to do certain things, this would be the most different. It'd be close to being a Black Panther than anything else. When the Black Panthers used to literally take care of the community, give away social, give you lawyers, give you health care, that mentality, I don't want to give anybody any. I want everybody to invest in themselves and stop investing into companies that don't care about you. So if we start developing companies that care about beyond yourself, you know what we can do? We can do like Tom's. We can sell a product, and the proceeds of this product go to this. People like that too. They got to get something to give. Like you give them, if they know they're going to give you something, they're getting something back, it's an equal exchange, and it's helping somebody else, they'll do that. Trying to figure out how that is almost impossible because we don't have a community. And every black person that wants to argue with me, you can argue with me, there is no community. There's a whole lot of concepts, but there's no community.
Freeway Ricky said something interesting recently. Hold on a second.
But we can make a community. We just can't be angry.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, we should be angry. That's wrong. We should be very angry, but we should be controlled anger.
Let me play this for you real quick. Hold on one sec. This is an interview with Godfrey, the comedian.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
Who's,
I watch.
whose family's Nigerian.
Yeah.
He's Nigerian American. His family's
Yeah, he used
from
to be
Nigeria.
one of my close friends.
Yes.
I had Freeway Ricky on recently.
Freeway.
And he said something interesting about Africans. Well, let me see if I can just
Yeah.
let me find it real
I just
quick.
met him. He was cool as shit.
This is Freeway Ricky
Yes.
talking about African Americans and Africans.
Oh, I love it.
You love it?
I love it.
Can't wait for this.
That's how Soul Plane got good. It was me and Snoop Dogg.
or we can escape to. This is like everything that we have is right here. Even Africa, they don't really accept American blacks. They don't really like us.
There's a friction between American blacks and Africans.
Well, American
living-
blacks don't have no friction. They have a friction.
Yeah.
American blacks like everybody.
This is true.
We just like accept anybody come in our community. Oh, come on in, bring your store and all your goods and everything. We'll buy that shit. It might not be worth a damn, but we'll buy it. We'll support you.
Yeah, no, you're right. The racism comes from the African side.
Yeah, we don't have any of that. American blacks, I feel, have been giving away their stuff too long. It's time for us to become more conscious about everything that we do, what we do with it, who we allow to get our money. And I think that once they do that, it's gonna be a big difference. But no, we don't have anything against them.
Hell no.
They have a friction against us.
He's right.
But
Okay.
How'd you feel when you saw that?
How did I feel when I saw that? I was doing, so this is the year of the return. It's been 400 years. This is the year of the return back to Africa. And so I was helping people. I had this guy from Africa, a filmmaker, and we were putting together a return to Africa.
Mm-hmm.
I was going in May into early June, 10 days. I was going to learn about plant medicine. I was going to be at the Hospital of Natural Healing. I was going to be supposedly made into a chief, my boy Kojo. It wasn't going well. So he wanted to postpone it to October. In essence, he didn't have all the things he said he was going to. I still think the idea is great, and I think black people need to go back. I'm going to Israel. I went to Egypt. And then with my CBD company, I work with Canopy. I'm going to Israel because that's where the first labs and the main investors are. So I'm getting to see everything else but where I come from. So I said, I'm going to Ghana. I'm getting land. And I'm literally going to have a place I can always go home. Supposedly, there's land that my aunts and all of us have in South Carolina. But if you have land in America, you don't own land. Because if you have to pay taxes on your land,
property
it's
taxes.
not yours. It's the government's.
Yeah.
Because I proved that to everybody, because if you don't pay it, they will sell your land that you've had for all these years with all that stuff for what they want to pay for just in taxes.
Right. And we were talking about this before. You and I, even though we're financially in good shape, we both rent our homes.
Right. We both lease. And the reason,
Yep.
because the landlord gets tired of me calling for things
Right.
that get broken.
We both could buy the homes that we live in.
And
And we
my
don't.
wife is wanting me to buy her. That's how I said, you want me to buy you a house. Because that's what's about to happen. I'm buying you a house. Is this it? You trying to tell me something? She's like, get me a house. Get me a car. Help me start my business. I'm like, oh, no, I'm too much pimp to do that, baby. No, but that's it. Buying, they said, well, you have real estate and you got equity. Life is temporary. I'd rather travel. But in Africa, I own the land.
Okay.
If I were able to get the government to agree to the land I have in Jamaica, I would own that land. That's a difference than being in America. We lease everything in America.
Right. Because if you don't pay your property taxes, the government will just take the land back.
For the property tax.
And whatever's on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's a hustle that they're not realizing. This land is not free.
Yep.
Other lands outside of this country are free. So I was going to Africa, and I want to learn different things about Africans. What does an American black know about Africa? Only what's on CNN. Only what we see in the movies. We, American blacks, are afraid of Africans. They are. I said to somebody, so my daughters and my wife started a new company called Lazy Girl Curls, right? It's all natural hair product that helps you with your natural curl. Because natural, plus, we don't put that, they got hair on their head and they take care of that hair on their head. No matter if it's dense, curly, wavy, take care of the hair that you got. I don't have any. I wish I had some, right? I might LeBron my life pretty soon, right?
You gonna get a hair transplant?
Man, I would get a hair transplant. If I could take some of this shit off my back, I'd have the best season in the world. But literally being in business in Africa, in Nigeria, when you turn on TV, there's black people. When you see a doctor, it's a black guy. There's 200 million black people in Nigeria. There's 45 million African Americans.
And that's just Nigeria.
That's just Nigeria.
That's just one country.
Just one. So we are afraid of black people outside of us. We're afraid of us. That's God honest truth.
Now listen, I interviewed Akon,
Yeah.
right? Who the whole Lighting Africa project
Yeah.
is fucking phenomenal. But he said, out of his own mouth, on camera, he said all the American black people he knows that went to Africa to set up businesses are all rich now.
Yeah.
Like I introduced a lot of people into Africa as far as to what the possibility is. I mean, all the way down to 50, Fat Joe, Ja Rule. I mean, you name it. Like a lot of those guys, and they're contest to it. I mean, once they tasted a piece of that African money in that brown paper bag or brown garbage bag, Dave was like, "Yo, we got to stay out here. We got to see what that is." But the opportunities is endless over there, man. And it's a wide open market. It's a virgin territory to where you could do whatever you want to do. Like, imagine me trying to do energy in America. It would never happen.
So I'm opening a sports bar there in Nigeria.
Nice.
Right.
Lagos?
Yeah. Right. So I shouldn't have said that on camera, but I was opening up. I was right. My boy is in Philly. He was the first cat, Ernest, peace, first cat to tell me about Ghana. Then he started sending me pictures. Then he started putting it on his Instagram, and just wow, look at that house. Oh, a black guy owns that? It's like the same dumb things we say in America because we don't think well of ourselves. Well, I stopped thinking like that. And I stopped telling other black people to think like that. I'm just doing it myself. If you follow, you follow. I stopped being a teacher. I stopped being a preacher. I'm just going to be a sage. This is what I'm doing. You want to get down, you get down.
Yep.
I come here, you got an electric car. Remember that? And I was like,
Yeah. I gave you the idea to buy a Tesla.
you gave me the idea. And then my daughter's like, he's right. If you're a vegan, you might want to get a Tesla. You want to be Mr. Plant-Based, which I can't own anymore. Guy got my name. But if you want to be Mr. Plant-Based, you got to be Mr. Plant-Based in everything you do.
Right. The New Orleans Advocate
Yes.
did a story of a woman who was the first possible ever marijuana overdose.
That's bullshit. All right, so yeah, I remember that came
You
through.
know the story?
Yeah, I remember the story, and it makes no sense because it's like saying, this is what it's like saying, that lady ate too many vegetables. Too many vegetables. Too many vegetables.
You could die from eating too many vegetables.
No, you go to sleep. This is the craziest thing about your body. If you're forcing things, but if you normally do it, your mouth won't chew anymore. Your jaw would lock up. You'll get gas. You'll vomit.
Okay.
Your body's in charge.
I don't personally believe it.
I don't either.
But basically what they're saying, they're not really saying that she overdosed and died from marijuana. They're just saying that she's dead and marijuana is the only thing in her system. So this is the only thing we can come up with.
Yeah, and they needed to come up with that. Well, maybe she shouldn't have had marijuana. If she would have had cannabis, she would have been okay.
Okay. I don't personally believe it. You know, but I mean, it's interesting because I had Jermaine Hopkins on my show recently.
I like Jay.
You know, who's in Juice. And he got busted trying to buy 200 pounds of marijuana.
It was a hell of an experience. I'm glad it happened because it was a learning experience for me at the same time. You know, I hate that I lost that much money because it was 200 pounds that they actually got that I was trying to buy. But the day before that, I had bought another 100 that was at my crib. That's why if you read a little further, you see my total charge was 300 pounds.
300 pounds?
Right.
Okay.
My thing with that,
Well, real quick, 300 pounds of marijuana, how much would you have made off that had you sold it all?
at that time, that was mid-grade. They was going for $1,200 a pop, minus expenses. I would be right there at 290, 300,000.
At one
Should have
point.
came to me when it got busted.
And then
Now, see, that's why people like that should invest in the cannabis.
right. Well, then he got busted again, but I think in North Carolina with like a few pounds. And what was interesting is that when he was going through the probation cycle or whatever, and I guess he was testing positive for marijuana when they were drug testing him, the judge basically said, because they wanted to throw him back in prison, and the judge basically said, look, these laws are already in the process of being changed, so we're not going to go ahead and violate your probation over something that's about to change literally any month now anyways.
Great.
You know, and you have so many of these marijuana convictions, so many people doing prison time, and it's about to be legal nationwide.
My man Romy, I go see Romy in jail now, man. It's just on marijuana. They putting you in jail over a plant. It's ridiculous. I mean, I was in Jamaica, and my Rasta brother was talking, and my daughter Giovanna goes to Jamaica, and I would never bring them. And she was like, Daddy, you're a Rasta. I go, yeah. She goes, we had it, the weed down here. I was like, shh. And so he says, how are you giving me regulations for a plant? You have no light on a plant. That's like saying, hey, you guys, it's the old Christian mentality. You can have anything in the garden except this one with the apple. I still haven't talked to Daylight.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Did Chuck D reach out to you?
Chucky who?
Chuck D.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
good.
got the number.
Yeah, he asked for your number.
Yeah, I had Chuck in my mansion in 1989. He'll tell you that. And he was like this. He's like, what is this? I go, yeah, I know, man. It was 500,000. He's like, what? I was like, yeah, 40,000 square feet for 500. It's like $1 a square foot.
So yeah, I mean the marijuana laws are finally changing.
Yeah.
How many states now?
We have there's 24 states. 9 states are recreational. Some of the best weed is in Vermont and Rhode Island, believe it or not, on the East Coast.
Okay.
We just started selling CBD in Florida.
Yeah.
I'm selling, well, by the time this comes on, we'll be about 150 dispensaries in California with Deuces 22, and Nevada, we partnered up with Flower One, which is the largest distributor.
Yeah. I mean, Berkeley recently decriminalized magic mushrooms, which I don't actually agree with.
Okay, I do. So
I've had
Ayahuasca.
bad trips.
Really? I've never done mushrooms.
I've done mushrooms a few times, and I've had at least one bad trip.
So,
It's powerful shit. This is not weed by any stretch of the imagination.
right, but you're still here.
Yes, I'm still here.
You're still here. You didn't drink a bottle of tequila and go driving.
Yeah.
And Usually when you're on a trip, you relax and stay on the trip.
Man, listen, I know people that smoke crack that are still here. I know people that do heroin are still here. This is not really an arguing point.
True statement. True statement. I met a girl here in 2003, and I was, man, you are fine. I said, what is the one thing about yourself that people don't know? She goes, I do crystal meth.
I wasn't ready.
It was like, whoop, 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 whoop. I was like, what did you say? She goes, you're not. I know you're big into health. You're not going to get me to stop because, I have it under control. I was like, wow.
Crystal meth.
I do crystal meth. Oh. Don't talk about drugs unless you got some.
John Salley, man, always a pleasure.
Love.
Congrats on
Thank
the
you
Beyond
very
Meat.
much.
On the Beyond Meat.
Go vegan.
Yep. Got in early, and man, you did your thing on that.
Yeah, man. God
Congrats.
bless him. Yeah, I now have. This is what we say in our company. It's beyond generational wealth. We're talking about generational health. Trying to keep my people alive.
That's what it is. Till next time.
Vibrations.